Well, folks, in the rest of this video, I'm going to show you how to make this. This is my PrusaMk3 dry spool holder. It has a desiccant and an active fan drying the spool. This out of the way here. As you can see, this is about 125 millimeters of the bottom of a Lowe's bucket, and I cut it off, and then I make a ring that seals it, and we feed the filament out here. We've got a little adapter. We put some 4 millimeter by 2 millimeter tubing to bring it out nice and smoothly. I make an adapter here that's shaped to this serration on the Prusa mount, and that is got 4 screws mounted to the bottom of the bucket, so it's held real secure. There's a support down here to minimize the movement of the front of it, and then it's I cut out the bottom of the bucket, put in a little adapter here that fits over this ring right here, and I put a little sealer in there to keep the moisture out. What you see on top is just it's an ESP32 with a BME280 that transmits to my Node Red monitor, and I'll throw that code in there, I suppose, somewhere. Sorry for the jerking around, but I got 1,000 projects to go, and I want to throw a video together here real quick, so bear with me, folks. This is the ring you'll see us make. Has an O-ring in it, seals into the bucket. It's got about a 1.5 millimeter piece of plastic here. It doesn't have to be plastic. If you don't, if as long as you put a window in here, you can see where your filament level is, and you could just put a piece of Formica, for instance. Okay. This is the Desiccant Holder, and I'll show you pictures of that. That'll be real clear here in a minute. And we fill it through the top, empty it through the bottom. It only takes a minute or so, and you can see out here I've got a 12-volt fan that runs all the time. You could turn the fan on and off relative to humidity readings and stuff, but I don't know, it seemed it's just easy to run the stupid thing than to go all that trouble. I got the computer up there. I could surely do that if I chose to, but I always felt like, let's keep it as dry as we can, and then when it gets up to whatever percentage that I feel uncomfortable with, and I dump it out, and I throw it in my I have a little reflow oven, homemade reflow oven that does curing, and I put it in there for 105 degrees for an hour or so, hour and a half, and then I can put the desiccant right back in. I actually don't even have to break the seal at all to redo this. So I don't know. I've been doing this for a while. It works fine, and it keeps the filament good and dry. So if you guys want to give it a shot, why keep watching the video. Thanks. Okay, let's glue this thing together. I'm gonna take these off here, and I've cleaned all this up good and made sure that any edge that flared out on it has been cleaned off, so they're all raring to go. This is what I use. It's an acrylic cement by IPS Corporation. It works good on PETG. If you did this out of ABS or Duco works just as well. But anyway, let's put some glue on here. It's clear, so you probably won't see it on the ends too. And I put a lot of glue there, so I'm not going to need to run over and put any on the other piece. So we'll clip that together. Okay. Now let's do this one. As you see, I'm using plenty of glue. We'll trim off the mess later. Do not worry. It's easy to do. This is not critical. Okay. Kaboom. put the clips in place. If it wants to slide and go one way or the other way, you can kind of adjust the clip back and forth. Okay, make sure it's good. I'm going to wipe off any excess down there, make my job easier later on. Okay. Now I'm going to set it down and make sure the pieces are all tightly together. And I'm going to put it down over that circle and make sure that it looks like it's a circle, huh? All right. Now I'm going to let this dry. I'll probably let it dry for 4 or 5 hours. I'm just going to put a couple pieces of wood down, and I've got some weights here. Can't have enough weights in the shop. Okay, there we go. And that'll keep things in place for a little bit. Let's see if I can glue this little piece here. You know, you put a little CA there and put there, and you glue it all to your fingers and everything else. But okay, that's glued to me. Okay, there we go. That piece and that piece is done. Now we can come over here. This is another piece that we're going to let set for a little while. I glue this piece with the bottom down, so just so that all of the glue and so forth, you know, comes out the bottom and doesn't run up the. It dried already. There we go. Okay. You don't need to put glue in here. That's, you know, that's not. You don't need that seal good, but you do on the outer part. That's what needs to be airtight. Okay. The other. There we go. Okay. And we'll snap it in there. And wipe my mess off. Yeah, I'm messy. What the heck? Okay, I'll clean it off later. All right, now we'll put something on top of that. How about a can of paint? How about that? We don't want to advertise them. Okay, so much for that. And what we could do, I guess, huh? Let's see. Yeah, we're just gonna let that dry. All right. Be back later. All right, let's see what we got here. That looks good. All right. Now let's make sure we got the bottom. You can tell what's the bottom by the taper, where the taper's down, so we get all the silica out. We'll use some of this acrylic glue and try to keep it out of the threads. Line it up good. All right. We'll let that dry, and then we'll come back and put the bottom piece on. All right, let's see what we got here. Take the weights off. Okay. 2, 3. Pops right off. There you go. One nice ring that we'll put an O-ring on here in a little while. Okay, we've got this. Of course, now that would go in there and seal. But now we got to glue on the threaded part. I do these separately. It just get a better print that way. So let me glue on the bottom thread. Okay. Keep it out of the threads. Okay. That and that, and that, and that, and that. Alrighty. Well, let's let that sit, and then we'll come back for more. Hang on. Alrighty now. Okay. We've got our silica holder all glued together. We've got the entrance, the nice funnel entrance where you can pour your desiccant in and seal it up. And then when you view through the little window, as you see, I've glued a little piece of plastic from a packing box in here as a window to see the color of the desiccant. And that's all glued in. And we've got, here's our empty, so when it changes color, we just undo that and it pours out, seal it back up, open the other and redo it. You could probably change it all in a minute. I've got a different ring and I did separate ring, and I did that for a reason. I want to be able to use this on both my, let's see here, let's see, here's my little piece of, this is about a millimeter and a half piece of plastic, and this will mount on the outside, and I have a ring here for mounting it on a piece of plastic. And if you want to mount it on a full-size bucket and have it as a dryer, I also have a ring here that'll fit on a bucket, and you could use this as an active dryer. In other words, you could have a fan running all the time to help dry, a half a dozen reels that you've got in the full-size bucket. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down and go get some silica or some silicone glue and seal this in here. I find silicone glue works good because you can scrape it out later and redo it. As a matter of fact, this is an old panel that I used. This is one of my early prototypes that I used, and it worked fine, except I didn't like, looked pretty, but it was kind of hard to put in. And then the fact that the desiccant wasn't right up against the glass, you really couldn't see the color. So that's when I kind of redesigned it and made it into this nice one piece thing with the window with the silica will be running right against it. Okay, well, I'm going to do all that, and then we'll talk about the O-ring. As you can see here, I've taken some 1/8 inch 3mm O-ring material and put it in the groove. As I put it in, I stretch it a little bit and force it down into the groove real good. And then when I get to the end, when I start, I just put a little CA below it, and then when I finish, I put a little CA below it, and then I'm going to add a little silicone over that to make sure I get a good seal. I don't have any good O-ring glue, so we'll put a little silicone there to seal that up. And of course, that's going to go into the end of my Lowe's bucket. The Lowe's bucket I'd cut it to about 130 millimeters from here to here, and then trim it down until you get the fit. I've got a real nice fit here. The ring has a chamfer there to help it go down in there, and if you start out a little higher, you can kind of walk it down and make sure you get the kind of seal that you want. Anywho, okay, we'll be back later when we get all this glued together. Okay, I've glued on the mounting ring and glued in the little piece of plastic here that holds our desiccant deal on the outside of our bucket. And what I'm going to do, this is glued on permanently, but I'm going to take this and put it in the holder and just run a bead of silicone around it. And this allows me, if I ever need to change the fan, it'll be real easy to do. So anyway, that's the gist of that. And I've also cut out the center part of the bucket here to fit this insert that will adapt to the spool arm, and we'll be able to seal it back here with some dum-dum. Get a good seal on that. So I'm going to glue that in. Okay? Later. Okay, I've mounted this on here, and I'm getting ready to seal with some silicone a bead around this whole bottom, and that'll seal it up good, and I don't have to worry about any leaks. And if I need to, I can always make a little slit down here, and we'll be able to pop that off if I need to change the fan if sometime in the future. Okay, well, here we go. Well, we've got our, what do we call this? This is our Desiccant Bucket. Okay, it's our 125 millimeter of the bottom of a 5-gallon Lowe's bucket that we have cut out the center and put in a little adapter here that'll adapt to this lip here. We take this off, it's going to adapt to this lip here. And then I've made a piece here that's formed to fit this vertical support arm. So what we'll do is we'll slide that on and mount that and seal this up with a little dum-dum, and it won't take us long and we'll be ready to go. We've got, you wouldn't have to have this, but I put a little window in here to see how much filament we have left. If we have spools that don't have aren't solid on the side, well, you can just look in the side here. But the Desiccant holder is all mounted here. This is an output to run the fan in here. I have a BME280 moisture sensor inside the bucket, and on top of here I'll mount a little ESP32 that'll send the signal to my Node Red system to monitor the moisture that I have. These are some clips that mount on here to hold this in place, although I don't believe they're needed, but at least over vibration and so forth, they won't come popping off of there, you know. Anyway, they're just simple prints with a little spring element, and it's hard to do this and put it on TV. But anyway, here we go. We've got an outlet here that's preformed. Let's take the cap off here, and you can see it's the holes, you know, a little ellipse here that allows the line to go out from our window, and you can see the 4 screws that mount the this little adapter plate here. So we can take off the spool we have here, take this off, and now it's very simple to bring this up here and mount it in this little lip here, little piece I have here. I put all this on here and pre-fit it and mark it with a marker, and then come back and mount it later. And I did the same for this little support piece here. So basically it's ready to go. Well, I'll put a little seal around here. I'll put 4 tie straps here, and I ran out of 4 millimeter by 2 millimeter tubing, a little Teflon tubing. I'll get a little piece to put on here, and we'll be all set. So here we go. Okay, we're all together. Got filament coming out, and we've got our sensor all hooked up. And I doubt if you can see this, but well, maybe you can. That's my Node Red web page showing that I'm at about 40%, and we're going to that's without any desiccant in there at all. And I've got a jar down here that I keep in dry desiccant in a mason jar. And what we're going to do is we're going to add it. Worst thing to do is overfilling it, because then you gotta clean it, empty out some of it. Okay, so we're almost to the top, and we're just a couple seconds from being done. And okay, that's sealed, the bottom sealed, and that I'll probably put a chart later where how fast that. Oh, I know what I didn't do. I have my I have the fan hooked up to some little, I don't know, little Bang Good variable power supply that I bought, you know, and runs on 12 volts. Maybe you can hear the fan. We're ready to go. And I don't know if this is amazing how fast that was at 40% before. It's at 29 now, and it goes down it's 26 now. Anyway, it's amazing how quick that the desiccant removes. There's 23 now. You see the color coding is different. Anywhere below 25%, I show just yellow or green, I guess it was. Anyway, all right. Well, we're in business. Thanks for watching.